I didn't even get that. Okay, so I've been teaching here for 20 years. I have a PhD. I had a PhD in philosophy, prior teaching experience. I've taught here for 20 years, and when I first started out, people would come and say how much they valued adjuncts, knowing that we weren't paid much, that we're loyal, and so on. President Stearns, when she first got here, came to us and told us a meeting of the adjuncts. Adjunct sounds kind of like a part of the body that you can just be cut off or something like. But anyhow, she told us how much we were valued. But I tell you, it doesn't make us feel valued when you won't even tell us what we're accused of doing. And my friend Alan says, well, you might have a schedule, you might not be able to meet your classes. No, we can lose our jobs. It's not much. With a PhD in philosophy and 20 years experience teaching 60%, which is all I can do, I make $25,000 a semester. It's not a lot, but it's all I've got. And so I think that would be really nice for you to put these things in. And your lawyer, your lawyer, as I recall last time, your lawyer did not say to Ann that it was forbidden to do that. Ann said, well, it's not required. Is it permissible? I don't know, perhaps she's giving you saying that it's not permissible, but I really doubt that. I cannot conceive of, in America, anybody forbidding schools to inform people who are charged with a disciplinary, an action that can be result in their termination. For a law to forbid them to let these people know what they're charged with. How can you defend yourself? We even have what are called Weingarten rights, and when I try to assert my Weingarten rights, I got some phony baloney run around like, oh well, we have told you that you're being investigated by a complaint made by somebody in the harassment discrimination area. That's like being asking, why am I being I'm being summoned to traffic court? I'm being summoned to traffic court. What did they say I did? Was it a moving violation, a parking violation? Well, you'll have to come and see. As a matter of fact, we're going to have to talk to the officer who wrote out the ticket before we can know. This is phony baloney stuff. Just treat us with a little bit of minimum respect. And this is being recorded. It's public. YFA is broadcasting these things. And I really wish you all the best. I hope you do something that's right. I hope that you do something that reaffirms my pride in this college, because I've served here. This college was a great college when I started, and I think that this kind of action, treating students and faculty as though they're toilet paper or something, that they don't even have the right to be told what they're charged with, I think that that's just scurrilous. It makes me feel like, anyhow. Well, I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Do what's right, please.
We do.
And I'm sorry. I don't. I'm upset.
Yeah. I understand.
I wish I could master a better tone. Thank you, sir.
None of us are blessed with that kind of.
No. That isn't good.
Yeah. I hope before I got up to speak when my previous employment, I always had sweat running down my back. So it's not an easy thing. Anybody else?
One other thing, if I could, all I wanted to do when I got up here was, I wanted to ask what the position of the board or the district, I don't know who to ask. But when I was Gina Liguria's pen pal, I was her pen pal for a while. And one of the things that she said to me, she said to me that adjuncts, part-time faculty, have no job rights and no right to due process. And what I would like to know is that your position? If you vote on what your lawyer recommended, that is your position, and that is what I will tell the people I represent, that they have no job rights and no right to due process, because that's what you're giving them when you're affirming this stuff. Is that your position? Who can speak to that?
Gina?
What I wrote you was that under the California Education Code, that statement is correct. It is not this board that develops the California Education Code, it is the state legislature. So the state legislature has chosen not to confer those rights upon part-time adjunct employees, not this board.
Did you cite the code?
I
You're
s-
talking about the
I did.
particular clause?
Yeah,
where the
we,
board
you know, we were
provides-
pen pals for so long, I don't know from memory every single one, but I do believe that I sent you that ed code. I'll go back and look through that string, and,
We do have Weingarten rights according to the law.
I'm not familiar with that, I don't know.
Well, anyhow, talk to Jim Sullivan. I'm sorry, I don't mean to,
Talk to,
again, I thank you for your tolerance.
On another note, I could just mention that there is an Assembly Bill 1690 that is working its way through the California legislature, which, if it passes and is signed, it would require the state's community college districts to contractually guarantee seniority and due process rights to adjunct instructors. Anyone want to see the article?
We can proceed forever here, so, and it's not of the essence of time, it's just that we seem to be discussing the same thing over and over again. So I'll let you make one more comment then.
I appreciate how clear you were on what you made. It was very clear. Please consider that is very much what was said by the YFA's position, that adjunct faculty don't have due process right in our Also, I didn't share it, I won't read it now, but I have Title IX wording that says that the complainant and the alleged perpetrator must be given similar and timely access to any information, in other words, what is being claimed, what the facts, what the evidence. Title IX itself says that both parties must be given that in a timely way. And then I have other, and I won't get into reading it to you, but I have other quotations from EERA and the state ed code that says the same thing. If you can be disciplined, if you can be dismissed, you have to be the union, or just the employee, right? The EERA has to be given the same information that may affect the findings. And not only are we in a situation where we have to be charged with, but not given the most basic sense of, well, what is being said to support this thing that we weren't informed of in the first place. As far as, I only brought up certain items today. I didn't bring up items on which we have legal dispute, because I understand your situation. But I really would hope someone explains this legal positions to us. But I didn't bring this up. I only brought up things that had to do, that were not about legal disputes, right? And they could be incorporated without running into any legal disagreement, right? And I'm sorry, but I have to object. On June 6th, we were told no changes will be allowed, quote, this will be our policy. And a number of those, which I explained today, are not about legal issues.
John, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, actually, so let me make some clarification. I think there's some confusion here. So I'm John Black. I'm the Title IX coordinator for the district. And so we keep talking about incidents that happened previously, and I understand it. And it's too bad that that occurred. But that's the reason why we're putting these policies in place now. Those protections are in the policy. They're in 3435 now. So I'm not really sure why we keep going back and forth. Title IX requires by law that we make a notification of what the charges are and what the claim is against the person. It also requires us to make notification at the conclusion of the investigation what the findings are to both parties simultaneously. That's in the policy. So I think there's some confusion here. So that information is in there. And so I think where we're at today is this, is that we are currently out of legal compliance, period. If we fail to pass these policies, we remain out of legal compliance, and we put ourselves in liability to be fined by OCR and to also have our federal and state funding taken away from us. So I just think that's the important thing that we reflect on. So thank you.
Thank you. Tom?
I think Mike or Professor Adams said it best. We can either talk today or in the future, and at 10 to 4 on the Friday before school starts, there's just not the time to finish this, unfortunately. And we are under the gun, I think, legally. with that being said, I'm open to some of these. I kind of take about 3 different sides on some of these. I agree with our counsel on one. I have questions about another issue. I do think that commonsensically faculty are mandated reporters in the eyes of students, but some of the other things like keeping unsubstantiated complaints out of files, I still think we can do that. So we got to do this, so I'm reluctantly going to vote to move this forward, but I also am open to coming back to this very soon. And to, as we heard, some of this just arose in June, so.
Well, the motion on the floor right now is to pass the policy.
Right, and I'm saying I'm willing to do that, but I also want to revisit it when we can to flesh out some of these things, because they're just not all cooked yet.
And so, Title IX, all these changes keep coming down with rapid fire, and how they are today doesn't necessarily mean that's how they're going to be in 2 years from now. The other thing that, there's a couple comments I would like to make. First is, the part-time or the adjunct rights are a negotiated item within the YFA. I came from a district where the union would not allow adjuncts to be called adjuncts. They were part-time employees, and that was negotiated within the whole scope of the union. And I really want to take that off the board. Part of my job is to protect the board and look out for the rights of the board as well as the employees of the college. So that is a negotiated right. So if YFA wants to negotiate seniority, it doesn't matter what bills are passed or not passed. There have been bills like that resurface all the time. If you were to look at the Ventura Community College District AFT agreement, you will see in there that there is provisions for seniority rights among part-time employees. So that is a negotiated right within your union. And when I say somebody's an at-will employee, that is how this district treats adjuncts. Now, does that mean that we don't value them or don't treat them well? That's a whole different thing. This district could not function without the adjunct employees. But if somebody's asking me, if there's no class to meet need for the following semester, does the adjunct have a right? No. But if a full-time faculty doesn't get a load, well, then it's up to us to work to get them a load. So there is different provisions within contracts. And then if the full-time faculty can't get a load, well, then there's a whole process for that. Does the adjunct have that process? No. So I just want to make that kind of clear. And we have to honor the contracts and the laws as they come through us. That's a couple things. And I also want to just say, from my own personal experience, I've been accused of many things as chancellor, and one of them required an investigation, which turned out fine for me. But I was tape recorded. I was not told. And this was before Title IX. I was not told what the charges were, and I was interviewed, and I was asked to stand down, and I asked no questions, and I went through it. So I'm just saying, I was treated no different than anybody else in this district at this time. So do we want to make changes? I think everybody's open to it. But the reason I called the board meeting this day, and I made it very clear to Jim Solomon that the board would meet once again before school. I told him that. I sent him a separate email to say we would be meeting today. And I have to tell you, to get all the trustees together on a different day when there's not a board meeting is challenging sometimes. So this wasn't against faculty. It was to get the trustees together at a time I knew most of them or all of them would be here for Institute Day. So that's why we picked this particular day. So with that, I just wanted to make those comments. And I have been in close contact with Connie, as has the Policies and Procedures Ad Hoc Committee. And So, and I know this has been policies that have been going to that committee for about a year now. Is that accurate? So it wasn't something that we were trying to do quickly or sweep under the table or anything else like that. So I just wanted to make those things and put that on the record as well. Thank you.
Okay, we had a motion on the table.
Call the question.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Carried on a 4-1?
Five to one, I think.
Keep missing Mike on that. 5-1. And pardon?
Trustee DeMartini.
Trustee DeMartini.
He miscounted. It's 5-1.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion passed.
We have to go to closed session. I have a closed session item.
Yeah, I know, I'm trying to find my picture. Okay, that will close the regular board agenda meeting, and we will be going into closed session now, and we will return to adjourn. Thank you for coming and attending. Thank you. And you give me a copy of that California Ed Code too, that you referred to here?
I will.
Are we coming back to this room?
No. Oh, I'll just come back on it.
But Abe just has to come report back out, so we'll take your stuff. 'Cause I just have a question for the board that I have to ask you. It won't take long.
We're going to the other room?
Yep. I think so, because there's probably recordings and we should probably go into closed session close. I have 2 items for you, actually.